we're about to, we're moving towards probably the greatest period of creative moments in humanity. I sincerely think we are.
Why do you feel it is the greatest moment of creativity?
Well, so with the advents in AI, I've been in tech for a very long time, as you know, and you've been a nerd for a very long time as well,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
which is fantastic. And as AI gives us the ability to remove the things from life that are difficult, okay, remove the things that we do by rote. Now, you've got someone at the moment who comes in potentially and cleans your house. All right. So they come in once a week and they spend 3 or 4 hours cleaning your house and you
Hmm.
pay them some money. Uh, their job is potentially being replaced by a humanoid robot. All right. So what do they do? What do they do? Do they go and find another job? And we're in that mushy middle at the moment. We're starting to head towards that period of those jobs basically being phased out. Now, they may be the greatest poet to have ever walked the earth, but we don't know that because they've spent their entire life trying to make ends meet by cleaning someone else's house or whatever, you know? So they're working 10, 12-hour days. They've never actually had the opportunity to sit down and actually be introspective and write about the things that inspire them. And I'm sure that person exists out there. Now, as those jobs are being replaced, there is an opportunity for creativity. However, there's a but. We're not going to get there without a universal basic income. That's what I feel. You know, we need to provide people a basic level, and call it a musician's wage, probably. Yeah, gonna
Well,
go down
yeah,
that road.
that's what they're doing in Ireland, calling the artist wage. But let me ask you this:
Yeah.
um, what causes the creativity if there's no struggle?
Oh, okay. So you believe that creativity comes from struggle, from in a lot of instances?
It comes from life experiences. People deal with a situation. Some people deal with a situation um, badly or good. Some people just sit there. Some people freeze. Some people embrace that, and their outlet is creativity. I produced a young man. I don't want to mention his name. I produced a young in one of the areas I lived in. There was a young local, really young guitar player, very good looking. All the older women were after him, and then I produced his record when he was right out of college, and some of the other producers that I talked with had turned him down, and it's like, he doesn't have any struggle. Now he grew up, his family, he's well-to-do, he's good-looking kid, plays, doesn't really have any angst or anything. And I even said somebody even said to him once, "You need to you need to break up with a girl and get drunk and have a fist fight and blah blah." Blah. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm just not that dude." And so a lot of people thought he didn't really have a whole lot to say, and which is okay because you can make straight up pop music, I guess, and stuff like that. But that's usually more of an art form, more of a uh, concentrated, um, programmed art form.
Yeah.
Like, got to write
It's
this stuff.
library. Yes.
But
Yep.
when you take away when you put people in situations and they know how to deal with it, when they come through it, that's a lot of how creativity starts for art. Um, there's a thing about a lot of artists who are depressed. A lot of comedians are depressed, but they get their best comedy out of what's causing some of the depression, or their outlook on it. It's like gotten so into depression that that's home, and then they see things differently than everybody else. So if we don't have to uh, if we don't have a lot of struggle, which is probably always going to be some struggle, again, where's that creativity come from? And I'll say this, during COVID, I have an artist that I produce, and we had started working on her 7-song EP, and she is a little bit of an introvert, like a lot of artists are. She thrived in COVID like you would not believe. She came back, I mean, it's like 21 songs instead of 7, and then she was putting things together, she was learning how to build things with her dad, she was painting, she was doing all kinds of stuff, and that was the catalyst to where she is right now, which is a great artist doing a whole lot of different things. Whereas I had a lot of friends that don't write. They just kind of did cover tunes mostly,
Mhm.
which is nothing
Yep.
wrong with that.
No.
But that's not necessarily in the creativity world, right? Unless you take cover songs, you redo them, imagine them your own way. That's a whole different thing. But they struggled the most of the friends that I knew, because they couldn't go out and play. Where once you could write, had something to write about, whether it was protest songs, whether it was about being, uh, in isolation, or what they thought the world was going through and stuff like that. At the end of all these situations and stuff. Whereas, like again, the ones that weren't writing original stuff to start with, didn't know what to do, and they froze. They went into depression. And some of them didn't even start playing again until 2 years after COVID, because certain places that just didn't open. But um, so that 2021 froze the world, and a lot of creativity came out of that. Like,
I, I I actually, it's funny you should mention that because I thought that a lot more creativity would come out of COVID. Like I thought there would be an absolute explosion in album releases post COVID, and I didn't necessarily notice a particular blip. I think there's probably a lot of people who learnt instruments, who honed their craft, because you've got people sitting there and going, okay, what do I do? I'll play guitar, I'll play the
yeah,
drums, I'll do
car
whatever, I'll
sales went
paint.
through the roof.
Yeah, they'll do all those sorts of things. But what I didn't see, and this is just one person, but what I didn't see is a whole lot of new albums from bands that or artists that we knew. There just seemed to be the standard sort of releases happening.
I
You
think there
know,
were a lot of new artists, people releasing stuff,
yes,
because
yes,
there were people recording for the first time. They
yes.
had songs, but they were learning how to record. I don't know about the standard artists. Um, I think artists that were established, there were some that were like, all right, this is time for me to shut down and to
Hmm.
uh and to be with my family or do whatever. I don't know. I know for me, after a while, I was doing a lot of live streaming. I did, streaming a lot. And then I was like, oh, wait, this is a good time for me to do a record for myself. No one's coming to the house for me to produce, even though I was finishing 2 records, one by Katie Martin and one by Jeannie Karen. We had started before COVID, and then I finished them during COVID. And I had enough time during COVID to go through my phone and listen to 50 plus song ideas, and said, all right, I'm going to do a new record. And then I realized that I had an acoustic record in me and an electric record. So I had enough time to finish them both, and then said, I'll just pick one and release it. But I made the mistake of releasing both the same year, but
Yeah.
I did 2 records. Um, and I have a lot of friends that released records as well. Um, I'm
So
not
you did
sure.
everything yourself on those?
Oh yeah,
You did all the instrumentation, everything yourself. So you didn't need to bring in anyone else. I mean, I know that's a particular skill you have, but you didn't need to bring in anyone remotely and say, "Hey, can you put down this track or whatever?" That was all. Those albums were all you.
I had enough time to not to really dig in, and uh, the Traveler came out before that. I did all. Did I did all? Yeah, I did all myself. No, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. On Shadows in the Soul, I was happened to be talking to my friend Leo, who was a keyboard player, bass player, in when I was in a Rush tribute band out of high school, and he's a
Nice.
great piano player. So I asked
Yeah.
him to play piano on that. So I sent
Yeah.
him track. He played on it on two of the songs. So yeah, so he did that. But everything else was done me. Yeah,
Wow.
doing it.
Okay.
But I had
So,
time to really dig in.
and so when you were so though you drew your inspiration from those 50 odd songs that you, or 50 odd um things that you'd put into your phone, and you
Yeah,
were like, okay, well,
little
there's
ideas.
an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now I
there's an
had the
idea.
time, which was what you were talking about, which would
Hmm.
AI and robotics would give you. But Shadows in the Soul directly has to do with COVID.
Yes.
Shadows in the Soul is a phrase that I took from George R. Martin in Game of
Yeah.
Thrones.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I met George when I lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico. He's George, and
Yeah.
um,
Loves his trains.
I know quite a few people that passed away during COVID. And that's where I kept thinking about that. And then also, like I said, I was talking with, I was talking with friends who were like, I don't know what to do and blah, blah, blah. And what are you doing during this? And I was like, and I gigged. I actually went out and played a couple of very, cool, socially distanced, high
Yeah.
priority gigs,
Yeah.
and I was just live streaming, so I was like constantly playing. And I
Yeah.
did streams for different universities as well, and a state as well. So I kept doing things, but it was directly Shadows on the Soul had a lot to do with the people that were contacting me. Friends that were like, I don't know what to do, blah blah blah, and I'm like, maybe a good time to write. I can't think about writing now. They were,
Mm.
and because they weren't in that flow,
No.
they were used to doing cover gigs, so they weren't usually a writer. And writing takes a bit. You got to do it and do it and do it and do it until you get to the point where it's just like, all right, I know some songwriters that they speak in great lines. It's like that's a line for a song. Oh yeah, yeah. That's another line for a song. Yeah, yeah. So
But that's practice. That's practice. It's, I mean, for a lot of people, it
it's
comes naturally, but it
it
is just
yeah,
practice.
it becomes ritual,
Yes,
habit,
ritual.
and
That's a
then
better word
so
than
you
practice.
start thinking in those lines and those ways and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, so I mean, AI, it could be interesting. We could be heading towards that Star Trek utopia. Everything's great in Star Trek, and nobody has to work, and then people have responsibilities, um, but yeah, I don't see a whole lot of people on Star Trek creating records too either. Some people paint, but it's like not, it was rare that you meet someone that's what they did, art.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually hadn't thought about the foundation of the actual creative process. I mean, I've gone through a fair amount over the last couple of years, and to your point, I've written more songs in the last couple of years than I have prior to that, and that has come. A lot of that has come from the last couple of years of trial and tribulation. Now, I obviously would want that to be different. However, the creativity that I've produced has been, it's helped. It's helped a lot. So, no, I get that. I get that. Well, I wonder then what we're going to do with our time. Like fundamentally, that where my brain went to is, okay, well, if we've got more time on our hands, then there's more opportunity to be creative. Maybe that creativity comes from travel. Maybe it comes from sitting by a brook, not necessarily experiencing a struggle, but experiencing beauty, experiencing something that you wouldn't normally have done. Going for a walk and seeing, as trite as it sounds, seeing a caterpillar crawl. Yeah. Yes.
How do you value beauty if you don't experience the ugly? How do you, when you
I
go
think
for
we.
a walk, what do you reflect on
Hmm.
if there was nothing that made you go for that walk? That really, like, I need to walk. I need to walk. I can deal with that. I mean, there'll be some stuff, but you know, you're in a city and you're you're grinding, you get out into the country, kind of, oh, this is great, trees, fresh air, this is
Yeah.
cool. But people that grow up around that are like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it is.
Then they go to the city and go, wow, this is great, So everybody has their, struggles, but if you take away a lot of that stuff, it's interesting. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. Um, yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well,
And
we've never.
I don't think that everybody is creative.
No, no,
So
no. I
there's going
believe
to be
that
a
as
lot more
well.
people trying to figure out what else to do. Um, I just kind of wish that we were using AI to solve health problems and other things and leave art to humanity.
Oh, that's a big call. Leave art to humanity. So completely absolve ourselves from using AI when it comes to creativity.
I think so. I think one of the things we're at risk of is right now, music is not valued already.
Yep,
Um,
correct. I agree with that.
when you walk in every mall, every store, you hear music in the background. You go into a restaurant and there's music playing, or you go into a restaurant and there's a band playing and they have to play so low that people can hear the conversations over it. I'm not sure they need to be there because people aren't paying attention to them and it's just background noise. And um, occasionally somebody go, oh, this was great, I really like it, and they want to go further. But to most people, it's kind of background noise. So their value of music is low there. And then we have, if you have streaming services, you can listen to anything that's ever been made. I grew up where, I'd call you up, go, dude, you got to hear this new band and this record, and and you're like, oh, well, what does it sound like? I'm trying to describe it. So then you have to get your words together to describe it. You go, you know what? I'm gonna put it on cassette. I'll give you a copy. Now,
Yes.
some people look at it as pirated, but it wasn't, because if you really liked it, you're like, I gotta go get this record.
Mhm.
And then you come back and go, dude, I got the 12-inch single on purple vinyl. You're like, what?
Oh,
Eh,
that,
eh,
that,
You know,
it's exactly how I got into Hendrix. It's exactly how I got into here. So a mate of
yeah.
mine gave me a bootleg copy of a Led Zepp. I'd heard Led Zepp. I was about 14 or 15, heard Led Zepp, and my mate Paris gave me a copied tape of a Led Zepp, whatever, Led Zepp 4 or whatever it was, but he'd overdubbed over the top of Cornerstones, which was a best of Hendrix. And it cut in, at the end of the Led Zepp stuff, it cut into Watchtower. I was like, okay, Led Zepp's good, but what the hell is this? And I was straight down the shop. I think I paid $4.99 for like a random Hendrix thing, and I was hooked. And as you know, I'm a big Hendrix fan. But it's precisely that. Now, that's not to say that there isn't discovery on the streaming services. However, the algorithm knows you. It knows what you like, and it will always pitch you towards what you want. Because as soon as you hear something that
Mhm.
is like a little bit grating, you will go off, turn it off. You'll go, no, I don't want to listen to that or whatever. So that's a thing. So it's feeding the.
But right now we're swamped with AI music,
Mhm.
and the
Yes.
streaming services, just like the record companies, are chomping at the bit, I believe, to eliminate artists and just make AI music. When I think there's 7 million tracks being uploaded to Spotify a day.
Yeah.
Orsino's making seven million
Mhm.
tracks.
Yep.
Um, so at some point you're being led down this way, and it has nothing to do with artists. It has to do with AI. Now, there's a whole nother debate about that. Is AI really creating, when someone creates a song with AI? Oh, actually, let me go back a little bit. So again, the devaluing of music, how valuable it is when everybody goes, oh no, you got to check the song out I wrote. Everybody.
Hmm.
And they're not musicians. They don't play an
Hmm.
instrument.
No.
They fed some words they thought were cool. AI jumbled it according to the way, like, oh, this is the way these songs are made. This is the way these songs are
Yep.
made. and
Yes.
someone goes, "This is great. I want to, this is great. I wrote this song," and it's like,
Hmm.
okay. So again, it has very little value, right? So when you're a songwriter, they're like, "Oh yeah, my 9-year-old son did a song. My 14-year-old daughter just wrote a song." Um, what is there? I don't know. That's an interesting time we're going to be when music has zero value. It's already down to a low value, other than live.
Well, so I'll give an example. This is something that you and I've discussed in a bit of a text message exchange. And so I'm the same as you. I save riffs, I save melodies into my phone.
Hmm.
I might be driving along and I go, and pick up a guitar and write. But we've talked about this. I'm not a finisher. Like I have so many things in my lyrics I've written, half lyrics I've written, half riffs I've taken.
Uh-huh.
Now with the latest version, because I've been playing with Suno for a long time
Hmm.
when it first released, because it intrigues me. It intrigued me, but even before that, I've been playing with electronic music creation and playing with Moog sort of whatever, doing all that sort of stuff. But I took a blues riff that I'd come up with, because I've listened to blues since the dawn of time, sort of thing, and some really cool lyrics which I wrote 4 or 5 years ago,
Hmm.
and I uploaded both the riff and the lyrics into Suno, and I'll use the word spit back. It spit back at me a complete song, because the blues is relatively easy to replicate. When I'm saying that, there's some, you know, BB King can just do a bend and you want to cry. Like that's it. Like, but AI knows how to do that. Now I've gone, okay, that's pushed me over the edge now, and I'm going to record that
Hmm.
with some.
Okay.
So something which I couldn't finish. Oh, well, sorry, not that I couldn't finish. I probably could have finished it if I'd given it the time. Uh, it helped me with my creative process. Now I'm not going to release that as a Suno song. I'm going to go back and like I say, I'm going to go to studio and record it and do something. Actually, something hopefully with someone that you know. Uh, but this is the question: have I now absolved my creativity, or not absolved, have I passed my creativity to AI and it's now in a loop where it's come back to me? Am I still the songwriter or and the composer, or is AI now part of that process and has taken that away from me?
There's two parts. One, you used AI as a producer.
Yes, I did.
People come to me and they go, "I have
Yes,
part of a song," and I help
yes,
them finish it.
I
So,
need help. Yep,
and that's based off I'm doing what AI does. That's based off my
that's what you do.
experiences, what I listen to.
Yes.
So I guess I mean, that's fine if it helps you do it. That's cool. I remember when this first came out, there was some band, I don't remember who it was, that as a joke fed some lyrics into and stuff, and they said, do it in our style of this band, which themselves. And they go,
Yeah.
"This is really good." So they were thinking about recording it and stuff like that.
Yes.
Um, the copyright issue is one that's on there. There's a woman, I just watched I watched the news not long ago, and there's a woman that she was working a regular job and she got into Suno and she started writing these songs, and then she released them and they started charting, and she got
Hmm.
like a major record deal. Like, it's hard
Yes.
to get because she's had lots of
Yeah.
people. So uh so it was like, well, who owns the copyright? So she says, well, I own the copyright. But then there are
Hmm.
lawyers that are like, no, not necessarily. You don't own the copyright. And then I just saw an article recently with follow up, um, where another lawyer said she should be nervous because he fed in lyrics and said, do it in the style of this AI artist. So
Hmm.
this woman creates, she doesn't sing. She just
No, no,
creates,
no. I can't remember what
she
you're
creates
talking about. Yeah.
AI, she created an AI artist and
Yes.
that sings these songs, repeatable, right? Um, but that voice comes from someplace.
Correct.
So the lawyer, the other person fed in these lyrics and said, "Do it in the style of this AI artist," and it
Mm-hmm.
came back with the same vocal.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Yep.
that person releases it, it's
Mm.
not the same name,
No.
but we're in a very weird thing. Again, I really wish that we'd use AI for so many research purposes, for other
Yeah.
things to help humanity, and leave art to humanity to do.
Leave
But
art to humanity.
um yeah, so it's a weird struggle. It's a weird thing as to who owns the copyright. And I don't know if you know what else they're working on. They're working on uh I believe I think it's Universal that's working on it, uh,
Mm.
where they're trying to get their artists to sign an agreement.
Mm-hmm. But Suno and Warner just announced a
Yeah,
partnership.
but
Yeah,
there's
that was
another
in.
one that's
Yeah,
wants to do their own app and subscription. So you can
yeah,
say, I want a song with Jimi Hendrix on guitar, Janis Joplin
yeah,
on vocals, John
yeah,
Bonham on bass,
yeah, yeah.
and someone new on you get to pick from their artists, which is,
That terrifies me.
well, some people like, oh, this is great, I'm gonna do that. And then you do it, and then
No, it, it's disposable creativity is what it is. It's disposable creativity.
which
It,
means it
it
has no value.
has zero value. It scares me now. Yeah, and the artists, especially the ones that have passed, have no say in that at all. Have no say. Their
Well,
families have a say.
someone has to have a say in order to say that they can do that.
Yeah.
But then you don't know if that's what they would do. You
No.
don't know if any of them would have wanted to play on this particular song. And they haven't said whether it's going to you be able to write your own lyrics and have them sing it and play and stuff like that. Uh, but there might be a couple of things that are really cool, like a little things that break through and stuff like that. But majority, and they're trying to lure artists by like, this is going to be a royalty maker for you because you're going to make royalties. But if I did that and I go, Ben, check this out, and you're like, all right, that's cool, but why is so and so in there on keyboards? I'm going to take that out and put in a different person. So that kills the version that I just did. Or someone says, well, I like this song, but I'm going to change all the people. So again, that kills the version that I did. Um, I think you're going to have like people making songs that maybe get 20 listens, 50 listens, maybe 100 listens because they sent it to a bunch of people, or they listened to it over and over and over. But it's again, we're still at the point where like an artist has to sell, has to, you're going to have to get a ridiculous amount of streams in order to make a living wage,
Yeah.
which is really hard right now. So it's such a bizarre situation.
We've never
Um,
been here before. We've never been
no,
here before. I remember seeing I saw something the other day that said, when the phonograph was first released, there was the comment in the media of the time saying that this is a soulless device. It takes someone's live performance and reduces it to just a music out of a box in the corner of the room. That was the scenario when the phonograph was released and records. I feel like we're having the same argument now, but to the power of 1 billion. Like
yes,
that the argument doesn't stack up in the same way. And I think that argument is being used. This is just the next evolution of X. No, so like I say, I started the conversation by saying we are, I believe, and I listen, I hear when you say about the struggle. I still think there is going to be a hell of a lot of people out there who have had struggle and will find the tools available to them to create. Those
hmm
tools are there.
hmm
However, absolutely take your point about the democratization of creativity is on our doorstep right now, and it is a scary place to be. However, I wonder whether live music is going to be one of those things which we see an explosion of, because you are going to have artists who are skilled, whether it's singing, whether it's guitar, whether it's songwriting, whether it's whatever they're doing, they're going to want to share their passion and be out in front of people making mistakes, and just learning from that experience. And I'll give you a classic example of that. A band that I'm in with Deep Horizon. I'm 49. The oldest member of the band is 22, other than me. And we released an EP half a week ago and did a live performance on Friday at a heavy fest in Brisbane. And Trace, my partner, came along, and she's not Trace's R&B. Okay, she's not into heavy stuff like I've grown up with. She'll listen to my music begrudgingly, I think, probably more than anything. But Trace came to the live performance that we did, and she actually said to me afterwards, she said, I've listened to your songs and I appreciate them, but seeing you perform them live gave me a completely different appreciation of the work. I'm paraphrasing here, but the work that you went into and all those band practices and all those rehearsals to get up there and see you do that with the guys gave her a completely different appreciation of the music that we were making. And we'd been in studio for 2 days to put down those 2 songs.
Yeah.
We'd done the slog. We had a fantastic producer in Liam, and we were writing different lyrics as we went and bouncing off each other and all the rest. But that live experience was completely different.
Well, live is a different art form. It's another art form.
Different art.
And so far, it's somewhat protected from AI. Somewhat. But then again, with holograms at Coachella, you never know.
Yeah.
But that live experience, especially on an intimate level in a small place, is great. And there's a different energy in an arena.
Yeah.
That's great. That's where artists are going to have to one, make a living, and 2, connect with people.
Yeah.
So, and don't worry, don't mind me. I'm fascinated by technology.
Oh, no, you are.
Fascinated by AI and the whole bit. I watch YouTube reels, and I was like, wow, that commercial's AI. You could kind of tell, you could hear the voice, stuff like that.
Yes.
So the commercial world, Hollywood, it's slowly seeping into everywhere, and it's going to affect many things, I think, way bigger, way more than the internet thing. I was around when the internet got started, and then people go, oh, that's not going to last, and then watch it kill many businesses and stuff, like industry. So I'm fascinated by AI. I'm just not...
stay away from the music.
Music, art in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that there's a line that needs to be drawn. I think we can't enforce this. It is just going to be what it is. But I'm with you in that humanity is going to have to go back to that, the person, to the personal approach to really getting involved. And look, we have so many more ways nowadays to actually get connected with artists in more intimate ways. Whether it's things like this, like listening to podcasts or hearing opinions or reaching out, those sorts of way more access to artists than we ever did before. It will be interesting, though. You said before, musicians have to make money. There is an incredible amount of musicians who do it for the love and don't get paid for gigs. We've spent hundreds, or if not thousands of dollars on practice rooms for rehearsing and time and effort and all the rest. There's no way that a tiny little grunge band in Brisbane is going to make money off anything. We're just not. There might be members within the band who split off and find their niche and do things and create and make money. But it's incredibly rare for breakout bands to happen. It just is. That shouldn't be a reason to not be in a band. It shouldn't be a reason to not be a musician, because it on a personal level, it's so damn good for the soul, and so damn good. It's like playing in a sports team. It's the same sort of thing. Your local blooming basketball team that you run around with, you've got that same camaraderie with your basketball team, as you do with your band.
Hmm.
So it becomes another reason to be alive and to make music. So I I sometimes think that the as much as I want people to make money from creating music, and they should, sometimes that actually detracts from the conversation of just being able to create art and share that art with people. And you know, I don't know. It'd be nice to make money, but I don't. I just don't know. If you look at promoters that spend an incredible amount of money on touring artists, and sometimes they're not even making any money out of those particular
Yeah,
situations.
sure,
You know,
absolutely,
yeah. So it's
absolutely.
a tricky one. Yeah. So
Yeah,
what's the yes?
I think people should. I think everyone should play an instrument. Not everybody's cut out to do it, to excel at it. Not everyone's cut out to do it. Even if the ones that are amazing, I know amazing players, but they won't do it professionally because they don't want to deal with the business side of it and cannot
Right.
deal with the business side of it.
Yeah.
Um, so I encourage people to play instruments. I don't encourage anyone to do this as a career unless they absolutely cannot live without doing it. It's a whole
that's
totally
that's.
different thing. Let me go back to what are people going to do with their time
Mhm.
when they have all this free time?
Yeah, they
Um,
will.
did you see? Uh, is it Time Machine? Did you ever read the
Not
book? I think it's
no.
the Time Machine. So with the Morlocks and
Oh yeah, the H.G. Wells one.
G. Wells.
Yeah,
Do you
H.G.
remember
Wells. Yeah, I read it when I was a kid. Yeah.
you remember when he
Yes.
goes to paradise and people are walking around half naked with the sleep and but they're just not quite there
Yeah.
and I forgot their God that provides all for them and stuff like that. But they're really and he sees they're in a library. It's like it's great, and he goes to grab a book and it crumbles into dust.
So yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they have all the time in the world. They chose not to read.
It's a Wily situation, isn't it? Where we're all just fat slobs floating around on hovercrafts being fed.
Everything there is kind of automated.
Mm-hmm.
So
Look, no, you're right. I think well, I'm
it could
hoping
go
that this.
either way. It could go lots of different ways, but that's
Mhm.
one.
That is one. That is
That's
one.
one.
Well,
And
hopefully,
then um, it's going to be interesting. Like I'm into sci-fi, and so you see these movies where this is the future. It's either total dystopia or it's super high tech and everything's. But the ones that are really like Blade Runner,
yes.
where you have these multi-level skyscrapers, but then you have cars on the street. You have flying cars and cars on the street.
Yep.
You have
So haves and have nots.
not only has and has nots, but technology doesn't like it is right now. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, I was just out in Arizona and a friend of mine took me for a ride in her 1926 Ford
Wow.
car. And this is like, we're passing a Tesla on the way. It's like, all right, technology it goes leaps, but then there's still people hold on.
I do.
There's going to be whole territories of people who don't have access to the
Hmm.
technology. So
Yeah.
they're going to be working very hard.
Hmm.
And then you have people that are not going to be working very hard, which sometimes leads to a class mentality.
Yeah. Correct.
And then you have people that won't be able to afford robots.
No.
So, but they want to feel that way. And that
Mm.
could lead back into the form of slavery coming back in.
Uh-huh.
Because they feel like the wealthy who have the robots, we have to have, I don't want to do dishes. So we can just get whoever the next people down the line to
Yeah.
do and clean the
Wow.
house. So it's a matter of how much you trust humanity right now. And we're
The
not
jury.
proving that we're the best we've ever been right
Yeah.
now. So
Hmm.
I don't know. It's interesting.
It is. It is. I also, just as a final thought, because I collect vinyl, as you know, and I make an active effort to listen to records. And
Hmm.
you know, the cost of records is ridiculous if you want to buy them new. That I think
Hmm.
that's just because there's less plants around.
Hmm.
Uh, Although I had a bit of an epiphany the other day when I was talking to some people who collect records as well. They don't listen to them. They collect them for the sake of owning the album, but
I
they don't.
I did not
They
say
don't.
anything.
No. Yeah, and that I was like, really? So you don't listen to the music? You're like, man, just saw that and like it and collect it, and I was like, oh man, that scares me. But so we're at that mushy middle at the moment. I can see you getting all agitated over that one.
No, no, no. I just did an audio. Yeah, I just did an audio show. So
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I run into people that kind of do the same thing. And again, I mean, humanity is interesting right now. Yeah, there are people that buy these crazy systems and it's not necessarily about the music. You have people who have guitar collections. They don't play.
Yeah. No, yeah, because it's a piece of art in their eyes, and we've
Mhm.
talked about that.
But
Yeah,
some
and that
people like things to do, and so there are people that collect cars, but they're
they don't
not
drive them.
necessarily in love with the road. They're in
No.
love with the technology of the car, right? Or tweaking things on the car, but they rarely
Yeah.
drive them.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
we're all different, I guess. Yeah, well, we'll watch the space. I, I, the producer role, I think, is one of those roles that's going to become so unique to the producer. I think that you're going to find that's actually going to become more and more obvious to people, that the producer's mark on a song is going to become more obvious, essentially. There will be a Larry Mitchell produced artist, and you'll be able to hear Larry's fingers in there, or not necessarily Larry's fingers, but certainly a way of helping the artist get to their vision, as opposed to, like you said, what I've gone through with Suno, and it's essentially been an everyman producer. It doesn't have any soul. It doesn't have any soul. It has technique, uh, but I
But you're
don't
gonna put the
necessarily.
soul back in.
Oh, I'm going to put the sock, but I've got the ability to do that. I'm not a, yeah, I'm pretty lucky like that. But
One thing I will say that you might want to be careful of when we go back to copyright
mm,
is anytime you put something into an AI, you're giving it more learning stuff.
you are.
So um, if you write a song and you feed it into AI and it's about um, a blue Malibu,
Hmm.
and I happen to be on the other side of the world and go, I want, write me a song about a blue car,
Yes.
right? There's a possibility that some of your lyrics ends up in my
Mhm.
song.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, there's a possibility that I've listened to a Bob Dylan track and I've taken one of his lyrics by mistake. You know, However, that's not programmatic. That's just human. And that would be more of a homage than a theft, I guess, than anything else. Maybe,
Well,
I
that's
don't
how
know.
we learn. Machines learn the same way, except
Yeah,
its retention is very different.
it is very different.
You know,
Yeah, it is.
so
Oh, oh well,
just worry about the
hopefully.
copyright. What you put in may become part of someone else's song
Hmm.
that they wrote
That
totally
I will
with.
never know about. That I'll never know about because they sent it to 5 friends and they had 40 listens.
You never know. You never know.